Alright guys, welcome to Burrito's CDL Power Rankings ahead of Major number 3, hosted by Optic Texas, coming up this weekend. I was going to start at number 1 and work my way down because it would have made more sense explaining it that way, but we're just going to do it like every other power ranking. Start with 12, go up to who you think is going to be number 1. Some of these numbers are based on who they play, but a lot of these are just based off of power rankings and how they're just doing in the league so far. A lot of great matches, a lot of great storylines going into this, a lot of questions that need to be answered on who's going to perform, who's going to shit the bed, or team's going to come through, etc., etc. But let's get to it. Starting at number 12, unfortunately, we have to go with the Florida Mutineers. Although this new roster has shown a lot of progress, it's just not looking good with them either playing either ultra or subliners, the loser of that match. I just don't see a world where they beat any of those teams in the losers bracket, so I had to put them at number 12. Now at number 11, it took me a while to think about this, but we're gonna go with the Minnesota Rocker, who once again have not won a match this whole entire Major 3 qualifiers, and it doesn't help that they're gonna have to play the loser of Atlanta FaZe and Thieves. That's kind of just a pick your poison. And doing these Major 3 predictions, it's very, very hard because things could go either way. There's a lot of surprises. No one will ever get a perfect prediction predicting the whole entire bracket of a major, because things happen that we literally don't see coming at every single major. It was a lot more predictable back then when like the games were a lot better, but these new CODs, never know what you're gonna get. But unfortunate for the Rocker, we do see a roster change coming after this major, but who knows, maybe they might stick it through. If they make a run and they beat the loser of Atlanta FaZe and Thieves, and then they go on and face the winner of Vegas or Seattle Surge or Gorillas, they could make a run. Who knows? But we shall see. Now at number 10, had to go with LAG. I don't know why I have them even like above Rocker, to be honest. Maybe it's because FaZe and Thieves are like the top 2 teams, so I just don't see a chance of Rocker winning, and I see more of a chance of Gorilla maybe not really at all actually beating Surge, and then they have more of a chance beating Vegas and advancing a little bit, which is why I put them at number 10. But right above them at number 9, I put Vegas Legion, because the loser of Surge and Gorillas has to play them, and I could see if it's Gorillas, I can see them actually clutching up this time and not trolling like they did in the online major qualifiers and beating them. Or if they face Surge, who knows if Surge will be flustered or not. Probably not. Surge will probably beat them, but I'm most likely banking on Gorillas to be going in the losers bracket to face them. So I do see Vegas moving on to at least round 2 of the losers. They could make a run, but if they have to go against FaZe or Thieves, it's not looking pretty good. And at number 8, we have the London Royal Ravens, who play the loser of Boston Breach and Optic. Boston has improved as a team overall, and they have improved very well, but I just can't see a world where first round at the Optic Major with the crowd behind Optic, I could see them taking this match against Boston Breach. And they actually do have a very good matchup against Boston Breach. I'm pretty sure they have a winning record, if I do say so myself, against the Breach. So I'm just thinking with the power of the crowd behind them, I can't see them getting knocked down to losers bracket first round. But we have seen some shit go on, so who knows? Optic could end up down there, and if Optic does end up down there, there's a chance they could be super flustered, super nervous, don't want to lose to Royal Ravens and get farted at their own major. So there is a world where Ravens could actually make some sort of a run, actually, because they actually aren't a bad team. Unlike Rocker, whose games just have not been close, Royal Ravens have actually just lost a bunch, but have had lots of close games, and they're starting to show a little bit after their win against Ultra. Granted, they do have a very good matchup against Ultra. I think they have a winning record against Ultra. Ultra has some sort of voodoo hoodoo against them. So going into number 7, that would leave Boston Breach. There is a chance they could beat Optic and move on. Like, it's not impossible. This Optic team at the moment is not an impossible mountain to climb. We could see Boston Breach come through and take this one. So who knows? And if Boston Breach goes into the losers, there is a chance against Royal Ravens. And this is just their overall major 3 qualifiers performance as well. They've been playing a lot better, but you know, there's just 6 teams above them that are still better than them. So this middle of the pack position is kind of like where Boston thrives, is kind of where Boston's always been at, and it's where they're going to be as we go into number 6, which is, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but Toronto Ultra on my power rankings is number 6 heading into the major. They've made tremendous progress with this roster change and the role that Hixie brings. Just a selfless role player that allows the players around him to be better. Like, a better version of Doug Sensor Martin is Hixie, in my opinion. But going into this, there's just 5 teams above them that I feel are taking a more momentum. One of the teams, which is the team right above them, I don't feel has played better than them along these major 3 qualifiers, but going into this major, they do have the power behind them. So going into number 5, we have the hosts of the major 3, Optic Texas. The 4 teams above them, I'm pretty sure you guys can probably do the math by now, are, I believe, head and shoulders above them. This road that Optic has to climb is actually not a bad one. I feel like they actually have somewhat of the easier side of the winners bracket. They could beat Breach, which is probably a match that the one match of the winners that they probably would have wanted and they got. And I could see a world where they beat Ultra or Subliners, but I feel like them beating Subliners again on land, even playing field, is like a 80-20. But it could happen with just like the power of the fans. But these power rankings, they showed how good they can be in certain matches. Granted, against Rocker and FaZe. I wouldn't say, I'm not even gonna say FaZe trolled. I'm just gonna say Optic just plays better against FaZe. Honestly, I think that was just a good matchup. But against like the other top teams who aren't as flustered against them, they have not shown any signs of life. I mean, I guess I gotta tell you YSL they have, but against these other top teams, I mean, they did troll a lot against New York Subliners, but I just feel like if they do make it to the next round against Subliners, they could win. If Ultra beats Subliners, I could see a world where Optic gets by that and they go to the winners final. I could see a world where Optic actually does make a run to the championship, but hindsight's 2020. They got a long road ahead of them. Whoever comes out on the other side of that winners bracket is going to be firing. And if it's LA Thieves, they do match up well against the Thieves, but the Thieves are always most likely able to clutch up on them, at least this year. So we will see. At number 4, part of me thinks I should have put them higher, but man, there's just 3 teams ahead of them that are just firing a lot better. But number 4, I have NYSL, the New York Subliners. A solid team. They've kind of had an iffy major 3 qualifiers, but they still showed that they're a top 3 team overall in the game. Not just if we're going on recent momentum, but overall a top 3 team in the game 100%. All these players mesh well with them. They have 2 good SMGs. They have a fundamentally sound SMG in Kismet. They have a Slayer, Crackhead, SMG, and Hydra. They got a great AR in Skies, and they have a great Flex and Priesta. All 4 of them mesh well together, and they show excellent teamwork in their respawns. I'm pretty sure they've been working on their S&D a bit. We'll see how it looks at the major, but they are my number 4 team. And number 3, probably wouldn't have sent this 3 weeks ago, but we have the Seattle Surge coming in at number 3. They have been firing these major 3 qualifiers. Granted, I think half of their matches were against pretty easy opposition, but they're able to beat NYSL. And they just showed what happens when this could be a roller coaster phase. Actually, it could be a roller coaster phase, but I think they're just showing their true potential right now when they're actually all playing at their best. I think maybe they just went through a few humps, you know, like the whole Pred thing that went down probably put them on like a mental hump, you know, having to get back on that train. But I think now they realize they're just going to grind out the rest of the year and try to win, and they are in a great spot, and they are able to secure the first seed, which is good for them. And they actually match up very well against New York Subliners, which is a top 3 team in this game. And on land, they are a significantly better team than online, so they match up better against honestly everyone. Even FaZe, even LA Thieves, they match up great against everyone on land. I feel like this team actually does play better on land than their online majors. So then their online qualifiers, my bad. So yeah, I could see a world where Seattle Surge actually makes it to the championship, but it all depends who comes out. I see a world where a lot of these teams make it to the championship, but Seattle Surge, I feel like they're gonna beat the Gorillas pretty easily, and if they get FaZe, I could see like that game, like they match up pretty well against FaZe, like they beat them a lot. Could see a world where they make it past that and beat anyone who comes out on the other side in the winners final. So Seattle Surge can make a run and actually make it to the championship game. And coming in at number 2, so we see it's between Atlanta FaZe and LA Thieves. For my number 2 spot, I have the Atlanta FaZe. The Atlanta FaZe, a top team in this game. They show inconsistencies in hardpoint at the moment, but their S&D is the best S&D in the game at the moment, and they're actually pretty good at control against most teams. I just feel if they brush up their hardpoint, don't make as many mistakes in hardpoint, they could run through pretty much every team in the league if they brush up on hardpoint and keep their S&D like the way it is. I could see a world where they win every game, no problem, if they just get better at hardpoint. Just a lot of fundamental mistakes, rotation, getting breaking easily, just things that they could all work on. You know, it's not like a hard road for them. It's crazy how a team with inconsistencies that's kind of in a slump could still remain a top 2 team even on their off day. It says a lot about this team. That's basically all I could say. And number 1, we have the Los Angeles Thieves. They finally got around to a point in these past 2 years where they're finally translating their LAN performances online, which we would be saying backwards about every other team how to translate their online performances onto LAN. But we do already know Los Angeles Thieves is a way better S-tier team on LAN, and they've been translating it to online. They've been looking very good online. I'm completely chalking up their game against Boston Breach, but I do still think this team is a well-oiled machine. All 4 of these players love each other, have chem, great communication. Like, they are the full package team on LAN. They play very well. They made an incredible losers run last major, but now they're starting in the winners against a team that they match up pretty well against. They have beat this team in the past on LAN multiple times. This team has also beat them as well on LAN multiple times, so you could say it's a pretty even matchup, but I do think that they will have the upper hand against FaZe. But yeah, these are my power rankings going into Major 3. I do think LA Thieves has the best chance of winning the major, but like I said, everyone in my top 3, actually everyone in like the top 5 honestly has a chance. One of the top 5 teams in my power rankings is going to win this major. Just all a matter of who comes out firing, who's not, who doesn't come out flat. You know, anything could happen in these majors, but these are Burrito's power rankings ahead of major number 3. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.